I think this is the conversation that we sometimes took place in a daily conversation, that people think that it's stated in the Quran. Many people don't read it, like really understand the Quran, and they say that men and women have two different responsibilities, and women have to obey the rules of the men, especially when they're married. And sometimes it puts women in a different position when nowadays we have lots of, I think we need more income for a family. So when it's only the husband who works and the wife.
That's impossible for many families.
Yeah,
it's actually impossible. And it's not new. This is not a new problem.
Yes.
There were poor families in the earliest ages too, and both men and women worked. Okay. That happened. The idea of obedience to the husband is true. My wife should obey me, and she can't say, I have a job. What's your job? I'm going to drive an Uber at 2 a.m. No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not going to drive an Uber at 2 a.m. There have to be boundaries in a relationship. But that's more fitrah, it's more common sense than it is some sharia rule. Like it's common sense. And the boundaries of a relationship need to be defined before you get married.
Yeah, that.
You know?
Yeah, and so the thing is sometimes people hesitate to have this before marriage, apa Pra-Nikah?
Pra-Nikah, Perjanjian,
prenuptials. What do you think about it?
I have crazy thoughts about prenuptials. I think that.
What are your views about prenuptials?
This is going to be bad. But okay.
I'd like to hear it.
Look, I think there are relationships Allah made in which we don't have a choice. I didn't choose my mother. I didn't choose my sister. I didn't choose my brother. I didn't choose my dad. Those relationships, we can never cut them. In fact, if you try to cut them, you are considered a fasiq, a corrupt person. Like the first definition of a corrupt person in the Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, is people who cut family ties. What are the family ties? The blood ties. The only human relationship, family relationship, that was not made by Allah, it was chosen by us, is marriage. Okay, so it's a contract. You enter into a contract. Now, even though it's a contract, it's two things at the same time. One, it is the closest person in your life. Nobody knows you like this person. Nobody has more access to you like this person does. When I'm talking to my mother, I have to be the son. When I'm talking to my sister, I have to be the brother. When I'm talking to my children, I have to be careful. They're young. I have to be the dad. When I'm talking to my employees, I have to be the employer. When I'm talking to my boss, I have to be the employee. But when I'm talking to my wife, or my wife is talking to me, I'm just Nouman. I'm not the husband, I'm not this, I'm just myself. My authentic, unfiltered, no, I get to be me. Now the problem is, in most marriages, people are not even themselves in the marriage. They're like, if I say this, what's going to be the reaction? If I, and they're playing this chess game in their head.
What's next then?
Yeah, and so you're living a lonely life. Right? Why? Because we have made this really authentic relationship, we've made it into a legal sort of social relationship. What is your expectation? What is my expectation? This part in the contract, this part in the clause, and we've made this into this like business negotiation. And the thing that it was supposed to be is supposed to be such an intimate, such a safe relationship. Now, even though it's supposed to be a safe relationship, there should still be conditions. But those conditions they're agreed on beforehand. And so I don't have a problem with prenuptials. Actually, I don't think there's a problem at all with prenuptials. Because it's just formalizing what we agreed on, and you don't get to go back and say, well, I was a different person back then. But I didn't have the same feelings, etc., etc.
To justify like your behavior, so you have boundaries before.
Yeah, and then I'll say something that I think a lot of people will find controversial, but I think it needs to be said. In Christianity and in Judaism and just the major religions of the world, marriage was difficult and divorce was difficult. In fact, in Catholicism, you don't even allow divorce. Islam came and revolutionized marriage and revolutionized divorce. Why? In fact, the Quran talks more about divorce than it does about marriage.
Oh.
In fact, the Quran barely ever talks about how to be married. But the Quran has pages and pages and pages on how to get divorced.
Wow.
And the question is, why would Allah do that? Because it's easy to get into something, but it's hard to
get out of something.
And everybody knows how to like someone.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how to get married. You know what people don't know? How to break up in a healthy way.
Yes. True.
Right?
That's true.
So what did Allah do? You don't know how to do this. Let me tell you how to break up in a healthy way. Now, why is that important? I think marriage education should actually include divorce education.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
we don't live until death do us part. We live in Allah gave us a very realistic religion, and that realistic religion, sometimes things don't work out. You know, Sahaba got divorced all the time, got remarried all the time. Ali radiallahu anhu had many marriages, many divorces. Like Hassan radiallahu anhu had multiple marriages, multiple divorces. I'm not encouraging it, but I'm saying if Allah made something easy, then my job as a Muslim is to make sure it stays easy. And when Allah made something difficult, then we make it difficult. What we've done is, we have almost Christianized our concept of marriage. So save it at all cost. No, but I'm not okay. No, stay in the marriage. No, but I'm getting depressed, I'm getting anxiety, I'm losing my mind. Stay married, no matter what. You know, and what we've done as a result is, now you're not married because you want to be, you're married because you must be. Right? And the challenge here is, I don't want to love my wife because I should. I want to love my wife because I want to. And the wife shouldn't stay with the husband because she should. She should stay with the husband because she wants to.
She wants to,
And the only way you will want to is when you're doing this out of your own free will. And the only way you have your own free will is when you know that the exit is easy. When you know the exit is easy, and I'm still here, even though the exit is easy, then that's an authentic relationship. When you make the exit extremely difficult, then you're just sitting as a hostage pretending to be happy, smiling for Eid photos.
Yes.
Right?
That's true.
And what we've created is this artificial picture of marriage or family where everybody's looking happy in a photo, but they're all miserable in real life. The Quran did not want human beings to live in misery. It wants people to have authentic relationships, right? And that's why these conversations about and that's why marriage is so scary now. I understand. I understand it's scary because the government is involved, legal process is involved, the whole families are involved, everybody came and attended the wedding. If something is going wrong, everybody's going to talk. Everybody, you know, then they're going to talk about the kids, and then there's going to be a custody battle and all. And Islam came and made all of that simple. But we took our beautiful Islam, and in a couple of centuries, we recomplicated it again.
That makes sense. Because, because lots of time people don't have to stay in the marriage because of the family, because of the status and everything. So that what makes marriage is so scary for the generations after us.
It's a prison.
Yeah,
it wasn't supposed to be.
Almost like a prison. And we always told that a wife should like obey the husband, like anything he says would be like.
I'd love to hear the evidence for that. I've never found anything that.
So.
Like, I don't even have to obey my parents unconditionally.
Okay, but that's.
Why would I? The Prophet ﷺ, one time there was a young man, and he had a donkey, and he told him, "Sell me your donkey," and he said no. He said no. He said no to the Prophet ﷺ. No harm, no foul. Why? Because you're my Prophet, but that doesn't mean I'm obligated to sell my donkey to you.
Okay, so
I have the right to keep my property. There's not a religious obligation for me to. And they understood that. They understood that was not a disobedience to the Prophet ﷺ, because he wasn't talking to them as the Prophet. He was talking to them as a customer.
Buyer,
Right? If I say as a husband, everything I say must be obeyed, Not even everything the Prophet ﷺ said was obeyed.
No.
How are we?
Yeah.
Where did you get this from?
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
Yeah.
like and you have to. For example, we have this. You have to obey your mother. Yes, you have to obey your mother. Very good. Musa alayhi salam was in Madian, escaped Egypt. Where was his mother? In Egypt. And then he met this family, and they offered to marry. He said, "Hold on, let me go ask my mother. Let me go back to Egypt, risk my life, ask my mother, probably get killed.
Yeah.
And if I survive, and she says yes, then I'll come back and say yes." Or did he say yes? He says yes. And does he also know that you have to be the best to your parents? But he understands that marriage is an independent decision that does not need anybody else's permission.
Okay.
Marriage is an adult. An adult gets married, not a child. A child needs permission to leave the house. An adult doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? So I think there are things in our religion that we've just
Made up.
we've created complications in places there aren't. And I'm not saying something new. The crazy thing is I'm not saying something new. This has been discussed with the early fuqaha, the first 2-3 centuries of Islam. This was all very well documented. I'm not even saying something new.
Yeah.
So my encouragement is everybody, let's go back and study the early Islam again.
Let's study.
Study.
Yeah.
And you'll find it liberating.
Well, thank you so much for the
welcome.
answer.